Welcome to Ultra Q episode 17. My name is Reg. I am joined by Mel.
Hello.
And I'm joined by Razin.
I want everyone listening to envision us as talking around a campfire in the fog, illuminated by car headlights.
Hell yeah. We got some episodes of Ultraman coming up. We got Get a Robo. We got Psychopaths. We got motherfucking Thunderbirds. That's what Ultraman is this week. It's a good time. So before that, I don't have much I want to talk about because I watched a bunch of stuff. I don't have much to say about it, but and also I've got a bit of a sore throat, so I'm going to save myself for Ultraman because Ultraman was really good. The one thing I will say is I finished Your Boy Kongming. It was good. I thought the song, the big song, was a bit of a letdown, but it's whatever. I'm not really here for the song. I'm here for Kongming, and it was good.
That's good.
That's it.
Me and my friends will not be able to get back to that until June because of conflicting travel things that will be happening, which I'm kind of sad about.
I started picking way back again at Three Kingdoms, so soon I'll get to Kongming. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
He's within reach.
Good. I picked up my copy of Romance of the Three Kingdoms since we last recorded, and I haven't really been able to crack it open yet. But soon.
The Empire long divided.
That's about as far as I got.
It's a good opening line.
It's very strong.
Yeah, I don't have anything else. I've been watching Ghibli movies and KyoAni, filling in a Kyoto animation shaped hole in my anime knowledge. Okay, no, I do have something to say. Lucky Star's boring. I don't. Lucky Star's fucking boring. I don't care. I've seen that OP all over the place. I figured, this is gonna be like a raucous comedy, and it's probably gonna be like, I don't know, it's gonna be like extremely aged like milk in some ways, but it's gonna be fun. It's gonna have high energy. No, it's not. It's like the most like slice of life thing in the world, like to the point of just there's nothing here. I don't care. So I stopped watching that because I was just like, I don't bye.
Damn.
I'm also aware that there's the reputation of like the first 4 episodes because that one director who sucks worked on it, and also he just did a bad job on those episodes as well. But I got past those episodes and I was like, yeah, sure, it's just all right, I guess. I don't care. Goodbye. There was like one Precure joke in it where I was like, yes, thank you. This is good. But otherwise, I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, I watched Lucky Star as like my second subbed anime back when I was like 14, and I didn't get any of the references. I was just like, this is fun, ? I guess I'm saying that I liked it enough to not swear off anime, but I don't remember anything about it.
Yeah. Oh well. Up next, because I realized that I have basically only ever seen. When I watched K-On!, I realized I had basically only ever seen one Kyoto animation show, and it was the Dragon Maid one. And I was like, I should probably watch some of the KyoAni shows. So I'm going back and doing that. And next up is like Nichijou, I think. So that'll be good.
I should also probably go back. Actually, I do want Violet Evergarden is them, right?
Yes.
I've been meaning to get around to that.
I never saw Violet Evergarden. I feel like there was a point where like I followed KyoAni stuff that was more recent, and then I was just like, actually, I'm bored every time I watch this stuff.
There's part of me that wants to go back and see how I feel about Haruhi, because I watched the first part of it way back, like when it was kind of like more contemporary. Like I think it was a little bit late to it. I wasn't watching it like as it came out or anything. And I remember being like, this is alright when I was younger, but I feel like I might like it more now, so.
I like it. It's good. I think Kyon is like the one shitty high school boy that I'm like, yes, love you. You're perfect.
What, you don't like
Um,
Ataru?
Like is the wrong word. I
You
enjoy
don't like
watching him suffer.
You don't like Shiki Tono?
I there's a scene in Tsukihime where I am like, this is the greatest thing that's ever been written, which is Shiki Tono meeting and them just like kicking it in like, on a fucking like park bench or something, and being like, are we gonna kill each other? Yeah, like, what's happening here? It's like like, you ever taken apart a radio? Radio? I've never killed anyone with that name. Which is one of the greatest lines in fiction.
I need to fucking finish Tsukihime so
I need to do. But yeah, there's a couple Q&A stuff I'd liked, like Hoika and...
Oh shit, I didn't even realize
This
they
is
did Full
embarrassing.
Metal Panic.
Well, they did Second Raid and also the
Fumofu?
the spin-off. Yeah,
I never saw
spin-off
Full
thing.
Metal Panic, so I should probably get to that. Also, Nichijou, and maybe Sound Euphonium. I did also like the other thing by the Full Metal Panic guy that was like Amagi Brilliant Park. That was also fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I put together a whole list of just being like, I'm just gonna watch these things. Lucky Star being boring really took the wind out of my sails, which was
Damn.
funny. I was expecting more from this, but oh well.
Yeah, I think it was like I saw Tamako Market and I was like, I don't like this. And I saw the whatever the other one, that the show that's abbreviated as KNK, that's not Kara no Kyokai.
That was all I had. I was gonna be honest. That was all I had. I was like, yes, Garden of Sinners.
Mel, I felt that one on a level because I also do not remember the name of that show, but there have been so many times I've been confused on Twitter because of that.
But just both those shows, I was like, I don't care about. whatever this is.
Kyokai no Kanata.
Yeah,
Beyond
yeah,
the
that.
Boundary.
Yeah, both those were like, I don't like this, and I saw Violet Evergarden, and it's like, damn, this looks boring, so I'm gonna not.
Kyokai no Kanata's the one with the money gif, where she's like waggling her fingers after some cash.
Aren't we all?
Yeah. Anyway, for having said I don't have much to talk about, I then talked for a while, so I'm done.
I have 3 fast things again. I feel like I've been on a streak of like watching things that I'm like, actually one of them I probably have a bit to talk about, but me and my friends did a group watch of Jennifer's Body because it had been a while for some people since we had last seen it. And it was someone's first time seeing it. I feel like I am representative of the general movie-going audience when, like, thinking about this movie, because at the time it came out, I didn't see it. I had no interest in seeing it. I feel like I think there's an interview with the director coming out about how pissed off she was about how the film was marketed. For those of you who don't know, Jennifer's Body is a horror movie about Megan Fox's character becoming like a weird demonic vampire because of a virgin sacrifice gone wrong because she's not actually a virgin. So then she starts to kill a bunch of the boys in her local high school, and it's her best friend's job to like take her out, basically. And it was marketed in like the most exploitative, like horny way possible back in the day, and people thought it was like really vapid and stupid and just like, you know, I guess for lack of a better word, like lowbrow, like trashy movie that no one wanted to go see. It's really well written. It's very clever. It's such a good satire of teen movies at the time that it honestly kind of, to me, is this, you know, from a historical perspective, it's like this perfect embodiment of what this type of teen movie was in the late 2000s. It's such a good commentary of the time it came out. It's just really good and clever about stuff like teenage relationships and teenage love, insecurities in high school, and like seeing your friends go out and doing things and feeling like you don't quite necessarily fit in. While also being tongue-in-cheek about those sort of things and knowing, like, a lot of this is just insecurity that comes with youth and, like, you know, not having a lot of experience with your life yet and that sort of thing. And also just like poking fun at like the alternative scenes that were kind of happening at the time without ever being like super dismissive or like, I guess, like putting them down. But yeah, it's a good time, and if you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend like grabbing some friends and watching Jennifer's Body. It's been kind of, I feel like it's been critically reappraised in recent years, which I'm happy to see because it is like worthy of that kind of like cult horror movie status. And it got criminally overlooked by a lot of people when it came out. I more relevant to this podcast, I decided to watch all of the episodes that are out of Chibi Godzilla Raids Again, which is now also my profile picture because Chibi Godzilla is a mood.
Oh, that's what that is. That's Chibi Godzilla.
Yes, everyone in every other server I'm in is like, why are you a broccoli man? Which I think is fun. So there was a Chibi Godzilla series of shorts that I believe what these are is they air on like a children's TV channel on like Saturday mornings as like quick like 5-minute buffers between shows. And the first one that came out I didn't watch because it's like a weird like 3D CG, like honestly kind of it reminds me a little bit of like those old like SD Gundam basically, but this doesn't look good. It's just like bad kind of like 3D CG Godzilla, so I didn't bother watching it. But Toho puts these up on YouTube like a week after they air in Japan with English subs, and they're fun. The plot is about Chibi Mecha Godzilla washing ashore on Monster Island, where he meets his first new friend, Chibi Godzilla, who decides to show him around.
Monster Anarchy Zone. Sorry.
Yes. So he meets Chibi Godzilla, his first friend. He's like, yeah, I'll show you around the island. And most episodes are about the hijinks they get up to or meeting other Chibi versions of classic Toho monsters. Chibi Godzilla is voiced by Jun Fukuyama, and his main goal in life is he wants to grow up to be a big Godzilla because right now his dad, which is the real Godzilla, is too big to notice him. And all he wants is a hug from real Godzilla. It's very tragic of a tale. But yeah, they just go around and like meet new friends. Really good bits if you're familiar with these movies. Like Mothra is just like a really nice like shy girl, but then also too she hangs out with the two like fairy twin girls who are like really catty and mean, and basically are like, oh, Mothra says that you're not cool enough to hang out with us, and Mothra's like, I never said that, and they're like, no, you need to get away. You guys are creepy. Like fun gimmicks like that. Rodan is a prick for like no reason at all with like really low self-esteem, so he always like praises himself to boost his ego and then falls out of the sky when people break the illusion at all. It's a good time.
Sucks to be Rodan.
True. There's a joke somewhere in there implying that the reason monsters stop speaking English after they're not chibi anymore and they just start to roar is that's what happens when monsters hit puberty, which made me laugh.
Man, God, they lose the power of speech.
Yeah, you just start to scream.
It's just the voice gets really deep, and you can't hear it with human ears.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what it is.
I think the next episode that's due out involves people hanging out in Mechagodzilla's treehouse and playing with toy trains. So I'm curious what the hell the deal is there.
Oh, Shy Guy's Toy Box.
Yes, exactly. And I guess my last thing, sorry, I should say, Chibi Godzilla Raids Again, good time. I recommend you check it out. It's on Toho's YouTube channel. I don't know if there's any weird region nonsense going on with, sometimes these companies do that with not every country can see this sort of thing, but I recommend it if you can watch it. The other kaiju thing I did is I revisited King Kong.
Yeah. How was King Kong?
Okay, yeah, that's a groundbreaking classic for a reason. The last time I saw it, I was pretty young, and I feel like it was my uncle used to do this thing sometimes where it's like, oh, you gotta see this movie, and like I'd kind of hang out and watch like a thing, but I'd like maybe be doing something else in the background and like half paying attention. It's weird. The whole time I was thinking about how, most of the like tokusatsu stuff we've been watching is like 60s, 70s sort of era, and just like developing that appreciation for, okay, this is like 30 to 40 years before all of that, and just like seeing what techniques were still in use to communicate these effects versus what like was updated and changed was really interesting. Famously, King Kong is not portrayed by a suit actor like a lot of other giant monster movies would end up doing, just because it looks better. Not all of the monsters, but the majority of the monsters in this movie are all stop motion animated. And it takes a little bit to get acclimated to, I gotta say, after getting used to the suit actors. When King Kong first showed up, I was like, oh, that looks terrible. But as the movie kept on going, I was like, okay, no, this is fine, actually. Racist as hell. The way that this movie treats the indigenous population of the island, fucking horrible.
I sure hope it doesn't keep a recurring thing. Whoa.
Yeah, I was thinking that the whole time. I think this might be the worst. Like, there's literally a scene where the tribe is like, we'll trade you 6 of our women for your pure, beautiful white woman to give to Kong. And
yes.
It's my
really,
God.
Yes.
Also, holy shit, is that, I mean, this is classic 1930s misogyny, but Jesus Christ. I posted this on Twitter, but there's a part where the main character of the movie confesses his love to the main heroine, and she goes, "Aw, Jack, you hate women."
Yeah.
I had lost my fucking mind.
There's like a period before misogyny becomes like a pejorative, and you can just like, someone can just say, "Oh, I'm a misogynist," and they just mean it, and that's normal.
Well, like, and I felt, okay, so the start of this movie is kind of terrifying in ways that, have any of you went back and watched the original Rocky and you're like, this is the worst relationship of all fucking time, Jesus Christ, you two people should not be together?
I've never seen Rocky.
Oh, okay. So minor spoilers for Rocky. Their first date ends with her going, "I'm kind of uncomfortable hanging out alone with you in your apartment, I'm gonna leave," and then he blocks her from leaving and then forces a kiss on her, and then she gets really into it, and then they have sex. It's the most like
Blade Runner.
It is exactly the Blade Runner thing, where it's like, this is not okay. But the first conversation that the two like leading, well, okay, sorry, before that, we start the movie being introduced to the idea that there's this movie director who's going on to this like island voyage halfway across the world. They never say where, they just constantly say halfway across the world, which I found funny. And this movie director is known for doing anything to get the shot, or having bravery to the point of maybe being insane or whatever sort of thing. And then we cut to this guy finding a woman getting accused of stealing food off of like a food vendor in New York, and then the heroic film producer or director guy is like, I'll pay for the apple or whatever, and then takes her aside and he's like, "Hey, you're pouring down on your luck, but you're beautiful. How about you're in my movie? If you want a job and to be able to feed yourself, come on my boat at 6 a.m. We're going halfway around the world." And he like basically pressures this like homeless woman into like acting in this movie.
He's like a notorious asshole, right? Like a director. Yeah.
Like he has a reputation. Okay. This is my thing. This guy has a reputation, and it's obvious that he is very fine with putting everyone around him in danger. And the movie like comments on it. At no point in the movie does this guy like, I feel like if this movie came out even a decade later, this guy would eat shit at any point. But the whole time, nothing goes wrong for him. And I think the movie is like, oh, that's just how it is for dudes like this, you know? Like, it's fine.
That is true. That is true.
And yeah, the main hero, who is a rough and tough sailor guy who's not so sure about this whole director, is introduced talking to our heroine, where he's like, "Yeah, I hate it when women are on boats, they're a nuisance." And that's the start of their wonderful chemistry, is being like, "God, I'm so fucking mad that I have to sail with you on board."
Classic.
So bad.
There's a through line from this to sitcoms where the wife and husband hate each other.
Oh, absolutely. I know I've talked about King Kong and haven't talked about the monster stuff at all. Yeah, the King Kong beating up giant snakes and like a T-Rex and all that stuff is good fun. There's a point where King Kong is really upset that they stole back the heroine, because that's his whole thing, is he steals the heroine because she's kidnapped and forced to be his like bride as like a sacrifice. And Kong likes to like take the pretty ladies back to like his little home or whatever. Presumably until like an accident happens and they die, I guess. It's a dangerous jungle out there. There's T-Rexes and dinosaurs of all shapes and sizes and all that fun stuff. But
I played that video game for the PS2.
Did you?
The Peter Jackson one.
I need to rewatch the Peter Jackson one. I'm curious how that holds up. But
I imagine. I don't imagine. I know. Also racist.
Oh, 100%. But there is an incredibly funny scene where they save the heroine and they're all back on the boat. And the only thing stopping Kong from accessing this one part of the island is there's this big wooden like wall/gate thing. And you get this you get the miracle of access scene where both the white sailors and the indigenous island population team up to try to hold Kong back, and they just can't.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Honestly, the one last thing I'll say is I know the iconic part of this movie is the part where Kong starts to rampage in New York and he climbs up the Empire State. That actually went like a little long for me, where I was like, I feel like this could have been maybe a little more climactic by being a little bit shorter, but it's fine. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I appreciate it for what I can tell, at least being like the start of the whole giant monster rampaging and, you know, how we feel about that sort of thing. It's a lot less meditative on the whole experience. And has a lot less to say than something like Godzilla, but credit where credit's due. That's like 2 decades after, or like 3 decades after.
Is it more meditative than Godzilla Raids Again?
Maybe not actually.
Oh man,
it's basically there's a big scary monster in the jungle, and the movie constantly is going on about beauty can tame any beast, to the point that they made up an Arabian proverb to put at the start of the movie as a slide that as soon as you look up is like, yeah, that's fake. And famously ends with the guy going, it was beauty that did in the beast. And that's all they have to say about that, is beautiful women can solve any problems in life.
I try.
True.
I didn't mean to, not laughing like that.
Looking for new co-host, by the way.
Yeah, damn. Cool. Well, glad to know King Kong is good. Mel, what you been up to?
Okay, I got a few things, but I also don't know how much I want to talk about them in depth. First off, I quickly went through, since Rasen's doing going through the kaiju movie things, I should restart my own thing so it could be kind of in parody. So I just quickly rewatched the first 2 Godzilla movies. We talked about them before on the podcast, so I don't need to talk about them much, but just, yeah, Godzilla 1 is a pretty deep, good movie, and Raids Again
isn't.
It's nothing.
Yeah.
It's kind of nothing.
Yeah.
It's kind of nothing.
But the cannery, though.
Anguirus is alright. He'll be back. But yeah, not much to say about those. But, stay tuned for more kaiju movies, I guess.
Yeah.
Number 2. I finished a short 3-episode OVA called Gunsmith Cats. I don't know what it's from.
Okay.
It's like a short adaptation, I think, of like a girls and guns genre story. Which I thought about checking out a bit more of that genre just because I liked Licorice Recoil last year. But
I didn't realize this was a genre.
apparently it is.
It's like a very small genre, but it's
I have my sneaking suspicion that the anime I've seen on AMQ called Gunslinger Girl would fall into this genre.
No, really?
Probably. I don't know.
But yeah, it's just, I felt if I was to rate it on the scale of OVAs I'd watched recently, I'd probably put it above both My Goddess and Bubblegum Crisis. It was more entertaining and fun. It wasn't like anything like exceptional or like, whoa, this is crazy, I'm into it. But just like, it was a fun, easy watch. It's about
Are these actual cat girls, or do they just have big 90s hair?
I think the cats is just the play on the fact that they're girls. They're not actually cat girls.
Okay.
It's about two girls, and they run like, they have like a gun store, but there's also like, they don't really have a license, and so there's like a guy from like the drugs and basically like the contraband department of like the FBI or whatever is just like, hey, can you help us with this case because you're good with guns? It would be a shame if we looked into the fact you have no license. They're just like, okay, fine. And then it's just like a little short story arc about them like going through like this conspiracy of like a drug trafficking wing, and it goes all the way to the top. Oh no. But I do think I think it falls into a similar trap as like My Goddess did, where it's like, because it's an OVA and not a TV anime, it's not meant to be an advertisement for the manga. It's for people who already like the manga, which means it's adapting a vertical slice of the manga that in the middle somewhere, which means there's a part when I watched the third episode and they have like introduced to a different cop friend who's like within like the local city police, and it's just like they know each other, and I'm just like, who are you?
God, it's so wild how frequent, like, because like they do a Stardust Crusaders where it's like, yeah, we're just adapting the back half, let's get to the good shit. It's like that just doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I think it like, I can kind of get how you get there, where it's like TV anime is like the thing that is put on the screens for people and they watch it, and it's like, so this is like meant to inform people, the general audience. Whereas if you're an OVA person, because they're expensive,
yeah, it's a deeper.
It's like
cut.
It's a deeper cut. It's for people who are like already enthusiasts, which means that if you're getting the OVA, you probably already like the thing. So it's not meant for like. It's not meant to introduce you to it. It's more meant to be like, oh man, I love this series, so I'm gonna watch this thing that's adapting it. But it does just make it weird if you're like coming to it like after the fact, when it's like, everything's accessible online basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's nice animation. There could cool fights, like, it's just like it's an easy breezy watch if you just want to watch some girls with guns.
Nice.
Yeah. And the last thing I don't know if I want to get too deep into this either, but I saw the 29 Korean film Parasite. The Maxim.
Oh.
I thought it was about to be about like this guy with like a funny guy in his hand, but it was actually about like a family of poor people grifting themselves into a rich family's house.
Yeah, weird that.
Yeah.
That's an alright movie.
Yeah, pretty alright. I'm not sure what values it has, to be honest. It's like saying something about capitalism, but I feel like it's coming from a centrist place, to be honest, just a bit.
I think it's funny when when someone falls down the stairs.
That is very funny.
I think there's a lot of very funny just violence.
Yeah, it's like funny and then like immediately goes to oh no, oh no, oh no. The first half of the movie is just a really funny escalation of like, oh my god, this grift is ridiculous. I can't believe the escalation. And then after it's the most haha, I love reaping, oh no, I hate sowing.
Yes.
Or, however.
The other way around.
And it's just like, damn. Fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Fuck, I don't need to tell you about this movie. It got an Oscar. Jeez, what do you want from me?
It did.
I still need to watch it.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. That said, I guess because it is like I said, I feel like its perspective is less like explicit and maybe a bit more centrist, which does mean you get people like Elon Musk being like, "Oh, I love this movie." I'm like, "Well, you don't get it, obviously."
I mean, sometimes people just don't get things.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like, I also, you are also maybe right. It's not like some people did talk about it like it was genuinely like genius shit, and I was like, it's fun. It's all right. I don't think it's life changing in quite that way, where people were talking about it when it came out.
That's just good and well made.
Yeah.
There is just like one part that's just stuck out to me as just like, oh damn, the layers to this is like the kid of like the rich family has like a fixation on American Indians and like role plays as them and has like toys from them imported from the US. I'm like, oh, there's layers to colonialism happening here when the child of a rich South Korean kid is doing this.
It was yes, that is wild. God, I had forgotten about that. Yeah, that's a pretty good movie.
But
well,
yeah.
Unless we have anything else, we can start talking about what I think is my new favorite batch of episodes of Ultraman.
Absolutely.
I'm not sure if this is my new favorite, but it's probably like second favorite. If it isn't. But these are really good episodes.
They are really good episodes. So, let me get into episode 22, which... Oh, fuck, I didn't take down the title for episode 22.
Overthrow the Surface.
Overthrow the Surface. Like I said, get a robo. Anne Morheim from Paris HQ visits the Tokyo branch wearing sunglasses at all times. This is important.
I also want to say this batch of episodes in particular, if you stick to the Ultra Q headcanon of Paris is the afterlife, these episodes become a lot more profound and compelling. Anyways, carry on.
Yeah, so she has come to collect Hayata and bring him back to Paris to be involved in a space exploration project. Hayata is clearly uneasy about leaving the team without Ultraman, but everyone else congratulates him and urges him to go. He and Anne take the VTOL and the squad see them off. Arashi spots something weird in the sky, and soon after, communications in Tokyo go haywire. Visiting TV and telephone companies, the squad find out that this problem is strongest around their headquarters. Back at base, they find a strange device that has been causing these problems. Taking it apart, they find at its core a substance that is only found 25 miles beneath the Earth. What does this mean, and why isn't Hayata picking up the phone when we call? Well, Hayata is, apparently, somewhere between dreams and illusions, lying on a table and surrounded by people in suits and sunglasses, but that's for later. During their investigations, Ide keeps thinking he's seeing Anne, and he comes to the conclusion that she's the one who brought the device. It's the only thing that makes sense. Ide and Arashi stumble across Anne again, and she escapes by car before they can catch her. But Ide finds the evidence they need, Hayata's communicator. The squad arranges a search for Anne, and Ide, armed with the Mars 133, finds her and gives chase. He manages to knock the sunglasses off her, he manages to knock the sunglasses off her and is shocked to discover that she has no eyes and no sockets. In her desperation, she calls on her contingency plan, a kaiju called Telesdon, which erupts from the earth and starts wrecking shit. In the VTOL, Muramatsu attacks with napalm bombs just in Tokyo. But it's not enough. They are forced to land, and the squad reunites with Ide. You know what we need right now? Ultraman. Where the fuck is Ultraman? 25 miles beneath the Earth.
He's at the volcanic
Hayata awakens. He's in the volcanic
This is it.
They were gonna feed him to the mole. 25 miles beneath the earth, Hayata awakens, and the people in suits, Anne included, not sure how she got here so fast, all take off their sunglasses to reveal they have no eyes. They are a subterranean species who retreated from the surface in the face of drastic changes to the earth. Now they wish to return to the surface and bathe in the light once more, and maybe in the process they'll enslave humanity. They're workshopping it. Crucially, they know Hayata is Ultraman, and they have decided to begin the whole slavery thing with him, turning Ultraman into their own weapon to use against the surface dwellers. Unfortunately for them, this extremely doesn't work, and when they hypnotize Hayata into turning into Ultraman, he hits the button and the transformation breaks the hypnosis. Because no matter what state Hayata is in as Ultraman, he is the Superman from the M27 Nebula or whatever number it is. This is where I'm just going to reveal something that has been on my mind for a while. In Britain, our highways are called motorways, and they're all M something. So Ultraman has all this time sounded like he was born on a motorway on the way to the hospital or something. His transformation kills the gathered subterraneans in suits, and he escapes from underground to do battle with Telesdon. He wins, and back at base, the squad are shocked when Hayata returns safe and sound. He has another surprise for them, though. The real Anne Morheim, who had been kidnapped and replaced on her way here. Hayata says she was rescued by Ultraman while he was unconscious, and then, at last, he heads out to Paris with Anne, for real this time. The end. So, at first note, right off the bat, we're gonna skip some steps and cut straight to Razan. Can you tell us who directed this episode, please?
Akio Jisoji.
I knew it.
Okay, now remind me, who is he again?
He is the guy who did the Pearl eating episode and I want to say it was the Cosmic Rays one with Gavadon. Okay,
cool. He did a good job.
So remember last time I talked about him? This is the guy that Anno took his live action directorial style from, and there's a mutual love there. And also this is the guy that people were like, oh, he has a style. You can tell when he's directed something. I'm gonna be honest, the last episodes we watched from him, I was like, yeah, I can kind of see it, but I don't think it's that distinct. Watching these, I totally understand where they're coming from.
Right. So now,
wild.
The follow-up question, I assume he did the next episode as well.
He absolutely did.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to get too ahead of things, but I will just say I've seen some of Akio Sashoji's later episodes in future shows, and so when I saw this episode, I was like, oh yeah, I know this him.
Nice.
The camera work and all of the cinematography here is so much more dynamic and inspired than the stuff that we've gotten so far. When they're all sitting around and talking, there's the shaky hand cam moving, panning around the room,
mm-hmm.
and it's so disorienting. And even though it's just it would just be a regular expository scene in any other episode of the show, you have this sense of unease and something's just off. And of course, that's all centered to do on Anne is an imposter and there's some suspicious shit going on. But it does such great work of just setting a tone compared to everything else that feels very yeoman. Typically, when we have these types of scenes, you get the same pretty static shots of them in the room in front of the big stupid computer, just kind of chatting, and there usually isn't much going on there other than just it's kind of a talking head scene or whatever while we're setting up whatever weird science mumbo jumbo's happening. And this makes you really feel like you're in the moment, like you're in the room with them, and I love that a lot.
Yeah. The choice to just drain all the fucking color out of the underground scene, very good.
Yeah.
All the people in suits with the sunglasses on gathered around Hayata on the table is so stupid. I love it. It's brilliant.
I feel like I'm gonna sound like those fucking retro video game YouTuber like people on Twitter for a second here, but I feel like maybe the eye sockets being like these little eye covers that are just skin tone maybe looked a little bit better not watching it in 1080p with crystal clear clarity.
Yeah, I feel like it was like kind of a bit too obvious that they were like things pasted over the eyes.
Yeah, I have a suspicion that back in the day on like an actual TV set at the time that looked a lot more convincing.
Yeah, though I'll also say that it still looked weird as hell.
Yes.
Yeah.
We continue to get more time with Ide as the secret protagonist of the SSSP. This episode was beyond, because the thing next episode has like actual like more unique stuff about it, but beyond like the direction in this episode, it's otherwise pretty straightforward Ultraman stuff. Beyond the actual like hypnosis attempt, I guess, which is the big thing in this episode, is that they try to hypnotize him, and it works until it doesn't.
Carry on if you
go ahead. I didn't have anything.
I feel like we've gotten one or two of these before where the plot is about Hayata being out of commission or just like he's not the focus, and there's kind of like this tension of, oh, where's Hayata? Which I always like when the show does. I feel like this is the strongest version of it we've gotten since. This is not really, like, Ultraman really only factors in right at the end, and I hate to say it, but I kind of like when the show does this, because it allows everyone else to really shine in the team in a way that I truly appreciate. I do think it's interesting. I don't know how your subs worded it, Red, but at least for the Blu-ray, the way that the hypnosis thing sounds is, I think how they specifically worded is, even if Hayata is under their control, Ultraman is still his own person that fights for peace and justice from the Land of Light or something like that.
So that was kind of, because the wording was a little more maybe confusing on my end, I think. The fact that they hypnotize Hayata into transforming into Ultraman, and Ultraman appears and is like, well, I'm not, I'm Ultraman, idiot. You fucking morons.
I appreciate them, because honestly I was starting to kind of forget that, yeah, like technically they're two separate guys just sharing the same like host body, because we haven't been doing too much with that delineation, so I was happy that the show brought that back up and kind of reintroduced that after it started with that angle.
Yeah. It is funny how they just get immediately owned by the fact that Ultraman is a being of light.
Yes.
Also the fact that his transformation was also in sepia.
Yeah.
That was cool.
I do also think, though, I agree with Razin that, like, when, like, it's fun when Ultraman does the Ultraman thing, but also when Ultraman is just like an afterthought, and not afterthought, but like just like the last minute thing, and
he's the period of the sentence.
it's more like, oh, this is just an Ultra Q episode.
Yeah, you'll notice I literally do not have a single word here written about the fight between him and Telesdon. I do not remember it. I'm just like, oh, that's
it's like 5 seconds.
I think there are some cool effects with like the fire breath burning beams and stuff like that, but
but yeah, the rest of the episode is the real highlight.
It is. I do think it's like weird when like Hayata comes in the end and is like talking about like how Anne was rescued by Ultraman, and it just kind of like zoomed in really uncomfortably on his face.
Yes, I love the idea of him trying to come up with new lies and just being like, I mean, I guess I'll just stick with, yeah, I was just unconscious. It's fine.
So everything I see from this guy, I think, is going to be colored by the fact that I also know that he is bouncing between doing this and like art house erotica, often with non-consensual themes and stuff. But like, there's I kind of felt some of that with the whole like the brainwashing and the being strapped down on a table, and I'm kind of like, okay, buddy. Like there,
Yes.
there is a undercurrent of that feels very like weird for a kid show, but it's also like it's not like intrusive in a way that I find gross or anything. It's just like, okay, this guy has that, like, I guess undercurrent or undertone to his work a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the writer's belly disguised fetish. Yeah,
absolutely.
It's just that little extra spice.
I will just say, yeah, the person who thought the Ultraman blowjob frame would say this.
This podcast
we're never letting it go.
This podcast is taking my reputation fast. Fucking, I'm never getting over the goop thing. What the fuck?
No.
I still can't believe I thought it was goo. Anyways, that's all I have on this episode.
Ultraman can shoot goo. We've seen it.
That's true. That is true.
We don't see it next episode, but we do see it in episode 24. Do we have anything more to say about episode 22 of Ultraman beyond it's really good?
It's good.
No.
Nice. Let's talk about another really good episode of Ultraman. Right. Episode 23. My Home is Earth. The International Peace Conference is taking place in Tokyo, but strange things are happening. Vehicles in the air and at sea and on the ground, which are all the places you can be, I could have just said vehicles, are colliding with an invisible wall. A man named Alan from Paris HQ, a lot of people coming from Paris HQ this week, informed the squad.
Angels, as I believe they're called.
Yes.
I don't know if I'd call the French that, but
these
you know.
vehicles... These vehicles all belonged to those who were due to represent their nations at the conference. Someone is trying to interfere. Could it be an alien? The SSSP head to the scene of a car crash and run into the same invisible wall. They escape the car before it explodes. The wall is taking off. It must be a rocket or some kind of spaceship. Ide and Fuji in the VTOL chase the rocket down, but Ide can't hit it with the Mars 133 on account of the fact it's invisible. He just has a little slot that he can put the 133 through. It has become more clear from this episode compared with the other episodes where he has done this, where it just looks like...
I could have sworn maybe it's just like I did some filling in, but I was like, oh, they showed the slot the first time, I thought.
I mean, they showed it, but to me, it looked like he had just like rammed it through, he'd like cut the hole
Yeah.
and then had put the gun through and then like slathered some like tape over it to make sure it stayed in place or something.
Okay. My brain might have just done some like infilling too, because of like it does look dumb.
It may have just been that it has looked like this the whole time and I just didn't pay attention properly. Anyway, yeah, they don't hit the rocket. Back at base, Muramatsu demonstrates a possible method of achieving invisibility. Rapid rotation / oscillation. He spins a bicycle wheel and shows that the many spokes become a transparent blur. Spinning a wheel of color makes it appear gray to the human eye. It's up to Ide to figure out how to counter this invisibility.
I'm really happy that the SSSP is spending their budget on basically making a children's science fair in their offices.
So good. It's this the moment this happened, I was like, this is amazing. This is fantastic. Ide works all night and is barely able to stay awake the next day when he has to explain his new inventions. They are the spectral alpha ray, which changes light refraction, the spectral beta ray, which destroys the eye's ability to absorb colors, and the spectral gamma ray, which creates a limit on the reflection angle of light. What does that mean? Shut up. It means they're going to kick this guy's ass. The squad deploys the new weapons against the invisible rocket, and it works. The UFO is revealed, and they shoot it down. On foot, they approach the crash and find a kaiju. They start chasing it, shooting it in the back as it runs away, but eventually they lose it in the woods. In the heat of the chase, Fuji overheard Alan call the kaiju Jamila and express regret about the situation. At night, lit by their searchlights, the squad make Alan reveal the truth of what they're fighting. Jamila is a human being sent on a mission to space by one of the major powers in the space race. He disappeared, however, and this news was never released to the public for fear of a loss of enthusiasm in space exploration. It turns out Jamila had wound up on another planet, one where the environment mutated him to the form he is in now. He has returned to Earth to seek revenge. Ide says he quits. He doesn't want to fight Jamila. Jamila is his predecessor. The SSSP are dealing with weird shit every day, and Ide wonders how long it'll be until one of them ends up like Jamila. And then what? They will be abandoned. Oh, go ahead.
Do the subs say predecessor for you?
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting. In the Blu-ray, they said, I can't fight my senior.
Ooh, that's cool. That's good.
Yeah.
If one of them ends up like Jamila, then what? They will be abandoned, even hunted by the organization they sacrificed everything for. Ide realizes that it is his inventions that will now allow them to kill Jamila, and he regrets it. Alan reminds the group of their orders. They must destroy Jamila without revealing his identity to the world. Muramatsu convinces Ide to help them fight Jamila, who has now become an enemy of mankind. The next day, Jamila raids a rural village using his fire breath. Turns out he has fire breath. Hayata runs to rescue a kid, because Hayata has to quickly find a quiet spot where he can transform later in the episode. And Ide runs in to shout out to Jamila to look into his heart and stop hurting innocents. This seems to affect Jamila, who diverts course and heads for the motherfucking International Peace Conference. Hayata, having rescued that kid, has transformed into Ultraman and confronts Jamila outside the conference, and in their struggle, they topple the array of flags of the attending nations. Jamila is weak to water, and Ultraman hoses him down. Jamila rides on the ground, dragging the flags through the mud, and dies. The SSSP stage a funeral for Jamila, and Muramatsu says, "Forgive us, but at least you can now rejoin the soil of Earth, your home planet." Or something like that. It's being broad. The squad gather around a tribute plaque to Jamila outside the conference, and all walk away except for Ide, who damns the politicians. The squad call for him, and we hear the roar of a monster. The end. Ide, you gotta watch your crime coefficient, buddy. You...
Holy
man.
shit.
Yeah, this episode was a lot.
Yeah.
I wrote down... So, in the Blu-ray subs, what he says at the end is, that's how it always is with the victims, only the words are elegant. And I went, holy fucking
that's so
shit.
cool.
Oh. This is my new favorite episode of this show. I love this episode so fucking much.
It's really good.
Yeah, it's really strong.
The team calling for him and the roar of the monster, it's like... He's gone. He's going. If this was a show that wasn't for tiny children, by the end of this show, Ide would be a monster.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, that's good shit.
Oh, I know if this goes anywhere at all.
Yeah. I mean, if they never do anything with it again, I'll understand, because this show is being written by millions of people who all disagree with each other very loudly, clearly. Yeah, if it comes up again, I'll go ahead, go for it. This is sick.
And I feel like we're starting to get this batch of episodes. My takeaway, and maybe part of this might be hashtag Jisoji's vision, but like, we're really starting to get with episodes and plots that I feel like are comfortable enough with the Ultraman format. It is a template or a structure at this point that they're like, okay, we can start to really dig deep into this and see how we feel about things, or subvert it in interesting ways, and I like that a lot. They're playing with the formula more and more. They're getting obviously a lot more comfortable with this after they laid the groundwork with a bunch of the previous episodes. I am curious to see how they play around with it more as the series winds down, and it's or I guess not winds down, but comes to its like, I guess we only got like 1/3 left, right?
Oh shit!
Just about.
Yeah,
We're about next
a
week.
little over
Would
a
be,
third.
Next week would be.
I keep forgetting it's like a 39 episode show and not like a 50 episode show.
Yeah, it's 39.
Yeah.
Damn.
It is very funny when Ayata saves the kid, and while his back is turned, turns into Ultraman, and the kid just looks back and oh!
It's like, now, kid, I'm gonna need you. You're not gonna look. I have to trust you. Just don't look. All right, everything's gonna be normal. Everything's fine. I'm just gonna quickly push this button here, and please do not be too shocked. Man, Hayata is very funny.
He's a funny guy.
Is amusing and cool that they brought back the Fire Ultraman's very convenient fire hose ability and decided to use it in like the most gut-wrenching way possible.
Yeah.
He's like he's like whips it out that one time to put out a bunch of fires, and this time he's like, oh, he's a fire type. Okay. Brutal. So now I realize this episode does not actually contain the secrets on achieving invisibility, but this is maybe the first time I've heard a sci-fi show explain how a cloak works, and I've gone, that's obviously not true, but it is like there's some really like stupid part of my brain that's like, yeah, that's intuitive.
Just to vibrate so strongly until you become you ascend to a higher degree of visibility.
It's just like the spokes of the wheel of a bike. Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
It was imperative that Muramatsu brought in the bike to show everyone.
Yes. It's so
the color wheel was what killed. Like I'm like that is from a 6th grade science class. Why the fuck do you have this? Muramatsu, did your kid have his fucking a toy that you would want to bring in?
Questioning the science credentials of the people on this science team.
Once again, this is Ichinotani science. This is
I mean, as we learned this episode, the SSSP is actually, as an organization, pretty evil. So it makes sense that Ichinotani has this ideal.
So the SSSP is fully prepared. It is just like, well, we're just gonna fucking kill this guy, and it's gonna be a secret forever. No one can know of this because it's like, it's a stain on our record. I was like, what, bro? This is messed up. This is
It's very funny how they, at the start of the show, were like, oh, the SSSP is an independent organization that serves no nation. And it's like,
like the IMF.
Yeah.
I do think it's so funny how tortured they sound in the dialogue because they have to keep saying this country or that country because they don't want to say who it was.
It's pretty funny. The scene where they're having this discussion by night with Alan,
incredible,
is so cool. The choice to just film just like pitch black, just with like searchlights, basically, is just fantastic.
It is such a vibe, and like if anyone's ever gone out, like I think I even like said something at the joke at the start. It's the start of this recording where I was like, "Oh, like you're around a campfire," but I don't even think they're around a campfire. I think they're just talking by headlight. But like it has that vibe of like, oh, you're in the middle of the fucking woods camping, and like the only thing that you really got is like a campfire going and some car headlights shining on everyone. It's a vibe. I love it.
I think I could use this image of Muramatsu smoking in the dark to set up a like this is what the something Prometheus looks like. This is what his videos look like.
Yeah. No, that's totally the American Prometheus vibe.
That's the one. yeah, it's just a good episode.
I just want to say that like blew my mind when I looked at the like plaque and tribute to Jamila. And it said he's lived from 1960 to 1993, and I was like, hold on, when does the show take place?
So this show takes place in 1990. So this show takes place after 1993. Then it takes place in it. Like if I was to figure something out from, I'd say that means that this show takes place in like the year 2000, right?
Damn.
Also, just funny that in retrospect, seeing with this revelation, also having them be like, "Oh man, we need to cover this up, or else people will lose interest in the space race." I'm like, "Damn, crazy that people post the 90s and lose interest in the space race, right?"
This somehow just makes the SSSP's actions all the more like bad. Like just like.
God.
Also, probably wouldn't surprise me if like the takes place in like the 90s or 2000s is just like retconned as the franchise progresses.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. So I can certainly imagine them just quietly sweeping that under the rug.
It's just like
going, it's the show. It's set in the 60s.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
It feels like the more you go on and the more you try and like do crossovers between the different seasons, they're like, oh yeah, Ultraman, the show that takes place in the year 1999, not to be confused with this Ultraman show that was aired in 1999.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's funny. I did not check what the translation. I did not check what my subs against the actual French that was written on the plaque. I probably should have, but I just trusted my subs, which, in hindsight, maybe not the best idea in the world. But yeah, the general vibe of this episode of just like, man, your country doesn't care about you. It just doesn't fucking care.
Yeah.
It's great. The Ide's like breakdown over the fact, because he's like, he has worked, this episode is about him, like he's worked so hard to make these inventions that will kill Jamila, and then just like, you've coerced me into fighting like me in like 10 years time or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's good.
It's good when he like sees the village burning and he cries out like, "Jamila, don't you have your human heart?" And like Jamila actually pauses for a bit.
Yeah, and like, switches targets to the people who are deserving.
I do also appreciate I feel like we went through it a little fast because like, for the sake of summary, it honestly isn't that big of a deal, but the start of this episode just being like vehicles blowing up or crashing or whatever, and just like sitting with that for a little bit, like what the fuck is going on, was a really strong opening too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was kind of tripping over myself to get to the bit that I was absolutely losing my mind over. But yes, the beginning of this episode is kind of unrelated, but very good.
Yeah. It very quickly becomes something not about that, but it's a good pull for getting the viewer's interest.
Yeah, it's like a Simpsons episode.
The only other thing I have to say about, again, this is like my favorite episode of the show, I think, so far. I think it's incredible. That last shot of Ide, Anno took that for Cruel Angel's thesis, right?
I mean, we know Anno took loads of shit from Ultraman, so I probably.
And like, well, just knowing that this guy specifically is like, these two apparently fucking love each other. I was just like, oh, okay, yeah, that. I see where some of those shots from the Eva opening come from now.
I do like.
The one of transparent Shinji head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that, and like the Masato silhouette stuff. I was like, oh, I feel like there's like a through line between this Ide ending shot and like some of that stuff
what is
going
happening?
on.
Oh, I'm watching a terrible HD 60 FPS version of Cruel Angel's Thesis.
I like that the kid, it's kind of nice that he goes back to village to like free the pigeons. Immediately gets weird that he's just like so enamored with the one pigeon that he's holding, and Hayato has to drag him back out of the village.
Kids be kissing birds. in the land of Ultraman and Ultra Q, kids kiss birds. It happens.
Except when you find dead ones, and then you're like, I'm gonna grab this with my bare hands and show it to my teachers. There are two routes involving kids and birds in the Ultra series.
Did you kill these birds?
I don't know if there's like too much about spoilers, but also I did like see Hayato go into the village to rescue the kid and go, oh, this is the opening mission Ultraman.
I kind of thought that too.
Yes. That did not occur to me, but yes.
We're slowly seeing where the bits and pieces of Shin Ultraman are stitched together from.
Mm-hmm. Well, unless we have anything else to say about episode 23, we can move on to episode 24 of Ultraman, which is Ultraman's apology to Fuji.
True.
Finally. So the underwater science base is what the episode is called, on my subs at least. An underwater science base is having a grand opening ceremony, and as a publicity stunt, they're not just sending down the CEO of the company for the first voyage, but a little girl named Penny, who was selected at random.
What? Okay, in our subs, it was Jenny.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
I thought Penny.
It was Jenny, right, Mel? I want to make sure.
I can be honest. I think it was Jenny, but also I still don't have my Blu-rays with me, so...
Oh, I should also... I don't think I said this on recording, but I also watched these episodes on edibles again, which I guess is just a recurring bit I'm going to do with every Jisoji episode now.
You know what? Now that I think about it, I think it was Jenny. I think I just invented the fact that her name was Penny when I wrote this summary.
That's funny. She doesn't really matter, so...
She may as well just be Kid of the Week.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's Kid of the Week. I'm going to replace Penny with Jenny with my brain as I continue. A little girl named Jenny, who was selected at random. Muramatsu, Fuji, and Hoshino are responsible for escorting the two civilians to the underwater base. They travel aboard the SSSP submarine, piloted by Fuji. Due to an underground disturbance, the pipeline between the surface and the water base and the underwater base gets damaged. Now, I have been back and I have checked the tape, and this is not caused by Fuji.
Yeah, it's not.
Just got to be doubly sure. The released air rattles the sub, and Muramatsu asks Fuji if she hit the pipeline. She doubts her own ability, and so she does not have an answer. Muramatsu orders them to continue as before. Somewhere in here, Fuji's on call with the boys back on land, and Ide demands to have the radio just so he can say, "Do your best, Fuji." Thank you, Ide. Very cool. At the underwater base, Muramatsu gives the CEO a rundown of some of the more entertaining tech stuff, and Hoshino is tasked with looking after Jenny. This leaves Fuji to return to the surface and collect the press for the second phase of the event. After she has left, however, things start to go wrong. A mysterious drill hits the side of the base and the pipeline connection is broken. Communication from the base also goes down. And last, but by no means least, the docks are wrecked. No one can get back into the base by normal means. When Fuji gets back to the surface, she reports to the rest of the squad that this is all her fault. She must have hit the pipeline when she was piloting the sub. Hayato manages to re-establish comms and figure out the situation. Muramatsu, Hoshino, the CEO, and Penny are trapped in an underwater base and will eventually run out of air. The squad figures out a new point of entry into the base that will work fine for a smaller submarine called the Tortoise. But this plan requires special equipment to dissolve the ultra-strong alloy the central portion of the base is built out of. Ide conjures up the equipment, and Fuji volunteers to be the one who uses it to make up for her perceived failure. Ide reluctantly agrees, but urges Fuji not to be too gung-ho. If she dies, then so will everyone in the base. Don't throw your life away, Fuji. Things aren't going great in the base either. The CEO gets increasingly agitated with all the waiting until the idea of suffocating in this metal box at the bottom of the sea gets the better of him, and he tries to let himself out into the ocean. Muramatsu just manages to stop him, but the fact remains they're running out of air. They start to use the oxygen tanks they had kept aside for if they had to swim to safety. Unfortunately, there is only enough for 3 people, so Muramatsu has to go without, and gradually
So I'll
starts
just
to have...
note it's because they used one because Jenny was unconscious. So they
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So Jenny fell unconscious and needed to be given oxygen first, and so they ran out of the 4th one, and so Muramatsu goes without and gradually starts to have a really bad time. This group heads to the point where they will be rescued, and they wait. Meanwhile, Fuji is out here doing shit. Finally! She is using the special equipment Ide built to melt through the alloy, but she is interrupted by a giant fish with a drill on its head. Arashi and Hayata in the SSSB sub engage it with torpedoes, and after one quick scare, Fuji returns to the task at hand and gets it done. She enters the base and everyone is saved. Meanwhile, the fish has got the better of Arashi and Hayata, who have crashed. Arashi is unconscious and Hayata takes the opportunity to transform. After a brief underwater chase, the fish drills out onto dry land and fights Ultraman there. The best thing happens. Ultraman throws his buzzsaw thing at the fish, which catches it on its drill horn like a ring toss, spins it up, and hurls it right back. As cool as that is, Ultraman does kill it by cutting off its horn and just murdering it. Classic Ultraman. Nice effort, though. Everyone is safe, and Arashi wakes up in the sub to find Hayata in the pilot seat and thinks it's a little suspicious. The end. Now this is Thunderbirds. This is Thunderbirds.
Yeah, I just want to point out that like part of the reason Arashi is suspicious is that Hayato was sitting in his seat.
Oh, that's what happened. Right, yes. Okay. There was part of me at the end where I was like, why is Arashi confused? I don't know. Yes, he is. You're right. Yeah, this is just a nice little rescue mission.
Also, he's not important, but Hoshino is in this episode.
Yes. I did like the scene where like Jenny's sad that they're all stuck or whatever, and he like makes funny faces to like make her laugh, like, you know, stop crying or whatever. I was like, okay, that's
actually, he's important. He does actually look after Jenny, but yeah.
I have introduced Penny to the world. I don't think Penny exists. But yeah, I think just having both sides of this rescue get attention is good. I love it when, you know, I love it in the second episode of Thunderbirds when they keep cutting to the inside of the Sidewinder to show you that the crew is increasingly in a really bad fucking way. So yeah,
it's cool to have like a submarine battle with a kaiju while Fuji in a scuba suit is trying to do the mission.
Yeah, it's cool.
Something about the way that this fish moves around, I was like, this is a Donkey Kong Country mini boss. But
so I want to talk about the Fuji thing because this is I'm not expecting the show to suddenly be cured of its dismissive behavior towards Fuji because again this show is written by loads of people who disagree with each other about everything. But this episode is way more than we were asking for because it's not just that Fuji does things, right? The Fuji does things is like baseline. Like that is just like normal. Like anyone could do this. But the fact that the episode is like about the fact that the boss instilled her with self-doubt, like she could be a perfectly competent member of the team if the boys didn't treat her like shit, is like so far beyond what we wanted the show to reach for that I was like taken aback. It was really good. Now it's like, you know, it's in the like I can kind of see like the Tomino version of this episode is she does something so reckless that to prove herself that she dies, and all the boys around her are like, man, the women be crazy, and no one realizes that they killed her. But this is a show for children, so she can't do something so reckless she dies. It's just I don't necessarily expect the show to start treating her like a full member of the cast suddenly. just because we got one good episode. But I think someone on the team is annoyed that she's getting treated like shit too.
Yeah, the 1-2 punch of Miramatsu immediately accusing her of like, oh, you fucked up and hit this thing, and then like Ide trying to like be a good supportive friend and being like, no, you need to believe in your abilities was really cool to see. And then like the scene where you just see her in the wetsuit, like, no, I'm fucking going out. Like, if this is my mistake, which like it isn't even, she's like, I have a duty to like do what I can. It's so fucking cool. I was very happily surprised. I had given up hope, but we at least got one.
We'll see if the second half of the show carries forward. It won't make up for the first half, but it'd be an improvement.
Yeah, I mean, like we've said, the show is made in batches, so this might be the first sign that they've realized something and are going to fix it. Maybe. Yeah. Again, batch. I'm not hoping for much.
Ending second batch next week.
Yeah.
Nice.
This episode was from Toshihiro Iijima again, who, if you remember, did the Roadside Picnic one with like the Bolton episodes, and then also back in the Ultra Q days did Challenge from the Year 2020, Blazing Glory, but then also some weird ones like SOS Mount Fuji and Underground Super Express Goes West.
Those two L's are whatever. Like compared to everything else that he's done, this
he needed to find his footing, and you know.
Do we have a writer?
It's the writer is, let me pull the thing back up. Is Keisuke Fujikawa, who is a name I do not. Also wrote the Roadside Picnic weird episode with the giant heart.
Mm-hmm.
And that seems to be it, looking through this book. Oh wait, no, also the Cry of the Mummy episode was Keisuke Fujikawa.
Okay. So yeah, 3 solid episodes.
Oh, and the last one, the episode 5, the plant one with like the bell tower.
Oh, that was a sick fight.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
Remember the plant that was in color when the flashback was in black and white, and it went on a murdering spree to kill the people that stole it from its homeland. Ultraman's a good show.
Yeah. That was also an Iijima episode.
Oh, sick. Damn. Yeah.
It's so we've talked like especially like a lot about how a bunch of these directors and people had like competing visions. Like Jisoji is very story focused and doesn't give a fuck about the special effects. He thinks like the Spacium beam is like bullshit. Whereas like I feel like Iijima, some of these other guys like Iijima and I want to say what's his name, Samaji Nonagase, I feel like are way more interested in the more traditional like monster fight setup type stuff. That being said, I feel like to the show's credit, even though you have all these competing ideas of what Ultraman should be, I think that the show benefits from all these different visions being there, and like you get good versions of each of these visions in each of these episodes. It's not like the show is being pulled apart in a way that, like, sometimes when I think of the writers have different ideas, I think of like Zeta Double Zeta, particularly like with how Fa's treated in those shows, right, and how different people on the team had different ideas of who that character should be. Sometimes that can just like tank parts of a show, and I do not think Ultraman has had any real harm done to it because of these competing ideas in the writer's room or anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
this is a good episode. I don't think it was as good as the last two, but like that's a high bar to clear. So
yes. I liked it a lot just because the critical combination of Thunderbirds and somehow managing to get something clever out of like actually managing to say, man, we treated Fuji like shit.
Yeah.
Which is cool. But yeah, otherwise I don't have much to say about this episode. I thought the bass was cool.
Yeah,
the bass is cool.
I don't know if we're ever coming back to this. I sort of feel like we kind of have to, because I feel like they built some stuff. Like, it's an underwater base. I figured we might spend some time here in the future. I don't know.
Sea Lab 1993.
It'd be nice. Yeah. Hopefully. Because I like underwater shit. Because, as you know, while I am saying Thunderbirds all the time, Thunderbirds only has one. Thunderbird 4 is underwater. But Stingray, the Stingray is all underwater. Good shit.
It is funny to me that the kaiju is amphibious specifically, so it can drill above ground, and Ultraman can have the fight above ground.
Yes, it's really funny.
Yeah.
It's funny because Ultraman does do shit underwater this episode.
Yeah.
It's just not the guy in the suit.
They're like, we can't do a full fight with the underwater stuff.
They should. It would be funny.
It would be sick if we got like a real tense like submarine thriller instead of the fight. It would have been incredible.
Holy shit! Hell yeah!
The tension of Ultraman slowly floating under, like floating around underwater, and then just being like incoming missiles.
I watched Castle in the Sky this morning, and like there is like there's a bit in that movie that's like submarine warfare, but in the sky when it's like tracking something like beneath the clouds when you're above them. That's like the second time today my brain has gone, ooh, submarines are cool.
They are.
Red's about to be like, why was I Red November, not Red October?
I was not born in October.
That was me. That's me. I'm Red October. Wait, no, hold on. I need to choose a different color. I'm Purple October.
Hold on, we can't do purple. That's not a Sentai color.
Well, it is now.
Oh shit!
I'm inventing it.
Actually, Rita King Ocher is purple.
I'm inventing the color.
Oh yeah, there's purple in King Oja. Yeah. All right. Well, unless we have anything more to say about Ultraman, we don't want to do color timers?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Want to do that? I say scroll. No, I forgot to do the calculations. Oh no.
No.
I got this. We'll do it live. Asterisk.
Live calculations.
Have we had an episode? Every episode, the color timer goes off, right? We haven't had one where the color timer just didn't even beep, right?
No.
I feel like that would.
Okay.
I feel like it's compulsory.
Yeah.
First 22 is 2 minutes and 5 seconds.
Nice.
Episode 23 is 2 minutes 16 seconds.
All right.
And then episode 24 is 2 minutes 46 seconds.
Nice.
Woo!
All right.
It'll be funny when we get to a series that maybe like puts a hard limit on the timer, and then we're like,
Yeah.
Then we're checking the tapes,
keeping them honest.
Yeah. We gotta keep them honest.
Keep them honest for a show from 60 years ago.
Yeah. I was thinking that with watching King Kong, I was like, this movie was made 90 years ago. That's fucked up.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, like we're nearly a quarter of a way through the century.
Oh.
I'm gonna turn to dust.
Nah, I'm not gonna. I'm thinking I'm just gonna keep going.
I believe in you.
Yeah, I haven't. I'm still here right now. I figure I'm just immortal, probably.
I can see that for you.
Yeah. All right. Well, we have no emails. Let's move into plugs. If you want to follow the show on Twitter, you can do so at ultra_q. That is at ultra_QUEUE. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at gender_redacted, and I'm at November on co-host. Rasen.
You can follow me on Twitter at Rosenbrand. You can also find my YouTube channel, Rosenbrand. I've been kind of doing stuff more. I've been live streaming. I still need to get that Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 video out. The problem is I kept playing and kept getting matches that I was like, ooh, I want to talk over this one instead. But Combo Breaker is this upcoming weekend, so I'm like, fuck it. I just gotta pick and choose and finally get that video out. If you're coming to Combo Breaker, tweet at me and I don't know, we can play some games or something. I'm down to meet people. So yeah.
Nice. And Mel.
You can probably follow my Twitter at Dear Crowns. We have an email, Ultra. Gonna take that from the top. We have an email at ultraqpod@gmail.com.
Nice. I like the probably in front of your Twitter account.
It's a dice roll.
It is. It's like every now and then when the account comes back, it's like, oh, I gotta go quickly retweet my favorite shit post.
I have a few bangers.
Yeah. That Destiny OP is amazing.
I'm happy my Victory Gundam bike tweet started going off again.
Yeah. The Victory Gundam wheel posting will live on forever.
One of these days I have to do one of those. Classic.
See, I waited years to make mine. I'm like, I'm not gonna force it. I'm gonna wait until the right footage comes across my vision, and finally I had one. I was like, yes, this is my time. I get to make one.
I love the one that's I think it's a Camille idea, is the wheel rolling down the hill towards a bunch of soldiers.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's also probably my favorite. It's so fucking good.
It's fantastic.
That said, I think my favorite version of this is the Mecha Images one. That's just like the tournament opening to the picture of the guy with a really big mustache.
My nothing will beat me and my group of friends. Nothing will ever beat the Groovin' Magic guy flying with the fucking wingsuit through the snow with the flare attached to the wingsuit.
What a good OP. I hope it's attached to a good anime. Oh no.
My fucking Blu-ray of Gunbuster came in. I'm like, oh hell yeah, I should watch Gunbuster. I'm like, do I want to do Die Buster after? I don't think I do. I don't want to watch that show again.
Episode 3 is good. Yeah. I think episode 3 is the one I'm thinking of.
I like how there's a girl called Tycho Science.
Is that her name? Hell yeah. I'll have to be called Tycho Science. Alright, well, that's a podcast. Now that we're just mostly talking about fucking wheel posting and mecha images. I submitted a really fucking petty mecha images post one time, which is really good, which is just the fucking it's the bit in End of Ava where it cuts to the credits rolling in the middle of the movie.
Yeah.
I cut to the Sailing Fly, which is the credit song from the middle of the Ide on two-parter movie.
I submitted a good one for Yoka 7 featuring the Tony Hawk Race War tweet.
Hell yeah.
But also last year during G-Witch Season 1, I did one that was like alluding to a fan theory that ended up being proven correct, and I was like, nice. Or,
yeah, the gift of prophecy.
Always there's a fucking G-Witch episode out today, isn't there?
There is. People are tweeting about it.
Yeah, people be tweeting about G-Witch. I still haven't watched a single episode of Season 2. Maybe it's possibly because people tweet about it.
Damn.
the same thing happened to me last season.
You could watch.
But anyway.
Also King Oja.
Also King Oja. I could watch either of these things.
A funny spider guy named Jeremy showed up.
I should just give up on having deep opinions about things and just become one of those Boruto was crazy good this week guys.
But then you'll look at.
Okay, here's the thing. Oh no,
You'll
go
look
ahead.
at like a Marvel action scene and go, "Man, this is so cool," and then I'll be like, "I lose respect for you as a person."
Kino.
Here's the thing. I've been hearing about Boruto recently with Sasuke's just out fighting dinosaurs. Maybe Boruto
Wait,
was
what?
crazy good this week. Sasuke's been out fighting velociraptors.
Is Naruto fucking dead yet? They promised that like years ago, right? Did that
I
ever
don't know.
happen?
Maybe the velociraptors.
Maybe I have
They
to wait for Boruto. God fucking
promise
damn it, they're
Naruto
getting
is
me.
dead.
Yes, the show opens with like a flash forward, and like they're talking as if Naruto died, and like the rest of the show has been
He's just
building
so
up to
Paris.
that moment, I guess. Yeah, true. I
I
like how Paris
like-
is heaven now.
Paris is heaven.
Arashi needs to. That still may be one of the funniest unintentional jokes I've heard in my life.
I just can't believe it.
That's how they
sorry,
explain death to Arashi.
Sorry, Arashi.
Arashi's like, oh, my spider shot will send them to Paris.
Oh my fucking god.
We did end this episode. This is
All right, podcast is over. Next week we're watching episodes 25, 26, 27.
Are we? I won't be there.
Yeah, what are we doing with the combo breaker stuff?
Oh, hang on. Yeah, this is a good
I'm in a fighting game tournament.
do we skip a week? What are we doing?
We could skip a week. We could also do something else, just on the spur of the moment.
We can skip a week and maybe do something else.
Yeah,
If
I'll leave that.
you
I'll leave that
see-
for you two.
If an episode gets uploaded next Thursday, it won't be about Ultraman, but it will be something. But if there is no episode next week, sorry,
I am to blame.
Razin is off. He's fighting people
Yeah.
in the streets.
Yep.
Well, no, that game couldn't come out yet.
Oh shit! Yeah, you're right.
Crack gang.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty. Well, we'll see you next time, which might be in 2 weeks.
See you
Bye bye
later.
for now.
Bye.
引き裂かれた愛がそれっきりおしまいになると思わず一度知った愛は鍛えられ次のもの探す力に引き裂かれた愛が残すもの何もないなどと言わずに胸焦がした愛は抱き合ったぬくもりを残し今でもあれからやつ季節は過ぎてあの唇時を超えて過去のものより赤々と今の僕に命続く源くれるいくつもの愛重ね合わせて果てることないスペースライツに空がMelting into image Oh Galaxy with you数えられる愛が震え合いそれぞれの胸に育てば数が消えて愛は果てしなく高め合うものに 世紀溢れ鮮や